Welcome to the stream. How are you all doing tonight? Feels dark in here. It's kind of fine. We are here, of course, for Survivor 50, episode 10. Is it a long one? Oh boy. Trisha, Emily, Macintosh, Jen, Proud. Thank you all for the subscriptions. It's a 2-hour episode? I didn't know that. You bought a house? Nice. Congratulations, Warwick. In this market? Mr. Beast has to be better than Zach Brown. Honestly, I don't even think that's a lie. I genuinely think Mr. Beast has to be better than Zach Brown. Two hours, though. Eesh. You've been so much jet lag this week. It was so good. Nice. We should put up an episode today on the Patreon. Here, let me make sure everything's working properly. There. Patreon, here's that. Well, let me adjust the volume slightly as well. Something like that. Let me know if that worked, Patreon. Sounded good. Perfect. Yeah, I've seen that Netflix might buy the Radford lot. It's currently not owned by Paramount. It's owned by like some kind of a private equity. They sold it a while ago. You would imagine it's a pretty big lot. I don't imagine it would change much. Basically, CBS would just have to like rent it out instead of renting it from this private equity firm. They would be renting it out from Netflix. Would be my guess. Do I have a favorite fantasy book series? Realm of the Elderlings. Starts with the Farseer trilogy. It's not going to be for everyone, and I didn't think it was for me when I first read the trilogy, but as I kept going, it changed me as a person, and I grew into a kind of person that enjoyed it. Have I read the Dune series? I have not. I've always assumed I wouldn't enjoy it. Which is not fair to Dune. But let me tell you, old school sci-fi, and in many cases old school fantasy, not really my jam. But old school sci-fi even more so. They're so dry usually. Because sci-fi, old school sci-fi used to be a lot more about the concepts than about the characters. And I'm a big character guy. And I know that Dune has some character stuff, but a lot of it's, from what I can tell, pretty conceptual. Pseudo, Butter, Becky, Pup, and Laura, thank you for the subscriptions. Had to tell you that the sociology of reality TV came up in my grad school class this week. I just had to plug your book. Thank you. Appreciate Dune for paving the way for what we have today, but it's so long and gets wild. Yeah, that's kind of what I would assume. Just started the live ship trilogy. Nice. That's really where, because I finished the Farseer trilogy and I was kind of like, I don't know about this. I'm so frustrated with some of the decisions these characters make. And then I started the live ship trilogy and I was like, all right, this is a lot comfier. And then by the time I went back to Tawny Man, I was like, wait, I love Fitz. When did this happen? I've been like reorganizing a lot of my old ratings for everything. And I've written notes for many of the books that I've read over the years. And so it's always very fun to see, because I have 2 sets of notes for that series because I've read it twice now, most of it. So it's very fun to see like my original thoughts versus my thoughts on a reread, which is now like 5 years ago. What am I hoping for with the Jimmy cameo tonight? Honestly, just something interesting. Something that keeps my attention. Now that Christian's gone, I feel like I gotta say, this happens to me. It's a genuine problem for me. Like, for all-star seasons or returning player seasons, when I know people on the cast, it's not fun for me to watch anymore. I just end up feeling a lot of anxiety most of the time. And so now that Christian's gone, I feel like a lot of anxiety has lifted. Obviously Emily is still in, but like, you know, we know she's not winning based on her edit. My anxiety now is kind of like, I really hope Suri does manage to to come in. But like, I felt so much anxiety. It's Traders is the problem. Going into season 2, I was like, this is not going to work out well for Dan. Anxiety. Season 3, I was like, oh, I'm so excited for Danielle. Let's see what she can do. Anxiety. And that was just me as a fan of Danielle. I didn't even know her. So you can imagine going into season 4, I was just like, oh, God. Every episode, I'm going to be so anxious about Rob. $1 Million Secret. I watched episode 7. There's 1 episode left. I have not watched the finale yet, but episode 7 was great. Written some kind of preview here, but we're about to watch this episode, so don't really care about it. I went climbing today. Feel great about it. Managed to not tear any more skin off. Managed to do a huge dyno that I was trying to do 2 weeks ago when I tore some skin off. Feeling very good about it. Cost of entry to go climbing. Cheap to try. It's pretty cheap to try. You can usually get like a day pass at a gym for like $20 or so. And then you just have to rent some shoes, which is, I don't know, like $5. Depends on the gym and where you are. But the thing about climbing, what I will say is, the thing about climbing is that the first time you go is the least fun you'll have. Because it only gets better. The first time you go, you're not going to have great technique. You're not going to have like the forearm endurance. You're going to get on the wall. It's going to feel hard. Your arms are going to feel like super tired pretty quickly. And you might have fun. Decent chance you'll have fun. But you might be like, I don't know if I would do that regularly. But if you go like 2 or 3 more times, your arms will get used to it. You'll start to feel more comfortable on the wall. And that's when it really starts to unlock. Show my climbing. I used to put a bunch of videos of me climbing on Instagram. I had fun doing some of that back then. It's just too much work to film yourself though. I'm a much better climber now than I was then though. Not that I was bad. I kind of like dipped. I got worse for a little while, and now I'm currently, I think, the best I've been. All right, we're nearly there. Oh, it's got the countdown. The countdown that lies to us. All right. Let me pull up a prediction. Commercial by 5:13. Yes, no. My countdown timer, if you want to sync and you're not seeing it, 3, 2, 1. Jeff said go. But now there's a commercial. And now we're here. Was Jeff doing the challenge really worth recapping? Is that going to be relevant to tonight's episode? Come on, buddy. What do you love about that cable so much? Show is a bit louder than me. How's that? Hold on, I might need to take the headphones off briefly. Flip-a-flopping. This is a really long previously on. Hopefully there's not too much of an echo with the headphones off. The previously on is why it's a 2-hour night, yeah. It's so funny watching Ozzy play with Suri. Was what I was gonna say was. He's played like 4 times prior. And now all of a sudden he's with Suri and it's like, hold on. Things are working now. Wow, never been on the wrong side of a vote before. Yeah, you can't make me hate Devons. I feel like he came out of Edge of Extinction overexposed in the edit, and a lot of people were sick of it. Myself included to some degree. Not that I disliked him on a personal level, but I kind of was with it that, like, it became the Rick Devens show and it kind of got boring. But I think this season in particular has shown that he's just a fun character. And when he's not being overexposed and being used to carry the entire season on his back while we wait for the real winner to show up. He's very, very fun. You can hear the episode. I'll try to turn it down a little. I just love that attitude. Like, all right, well, gotta just go for broke now, I guess. All right, who's the spider? Is this Suri? Is that the metaphor? Or is it Aubrey? Come on, Joe. Joe V. Devens must be resolved in this episode. That's what they're telling us. We're auctioning. Fun little flashback. Do we think Mr. Beast is going to show up in the first segment? Oh, maybe not. That's a yes. We got a commercial. Next prediction. Does anyone say Jimmy? Actually, tell me if this has been spoiled already. If there's been like if that was in the preview or something. But I think this could be fun. Does Jimmy Fallon count? It was in the preview. Okay. Does any player say Jimmy? How about that? Chappelle says to text him back. I don't think I've gotten a text from Chappelle. You talking to me? All right. Does any player say Jimmy? Player, not Jeff. Does any player say Jimmy? What if they say Jim? It's got to be Jimmy. So, I'm trying to think. It's an auction. Chappelle says he's been texting me. Oh, that's such a lot. Tell him to check who he's sending those texts to. So yeah, obviously, like one of the big things that Mr. Beast does is like take a certain amount of money to bow out of the game. I don't think that works on Survivor, and it feels weird to do it in an auction. But some way to win money would not be super surprising to me. Also, like, do we really think that he would just use a Beast Games thing? Okay, we're back. Just straight up. Comfort or chaos, or both. The long shot of Joe. Hey, Chappelle. You ready for some Jimmy Beast? So is Beast not showing up until the end of the auction? I thought he was going to show up here. Maybe he's not part of the option. Or auction. I'm surprised Devins isn't trying to go for something else. Chappelle, if you've really been texting me all month, you need to check the number. It's not a different number. Oh, Mr. Beast is like in the Pandora's box. They're all waiting for something big. Justifiably so. I knew it. Complete. This was a picky eater. When can I start? They are really big. Is that a brain? It's over. It's over. Surely that was too much bread to cheese ratio. You know what I think I need for the auction is a little graphic indicating how much money they all have. How is this different than the previous one? I guess it's slightly different in that they don't get to choose and they don't get to share. But it's pretty similar. There's more explanation than I think I needed. They have to decide blindly. It's been cooked. It looks like poop. Oh my god, it was really hard to bite off. I think I'd take the grubs. At least those are soft, chewable. This has to be the kindest auction ever, right? They've had two bad, like, gross food optional items, and aside from that, it's just all been food. Good food. Ooh. I just realized there's like no shot anyone saying Jimmy. He's not even showing up. Here's the thing. You don't get cast for this show if you're not willing to put 20 bucks in. It's a very clear line. Was Aubrey a mom the last time she came? Yeah, so this is the first time she's been here with a child. That's bound to feel way different. Chaos. Imagine if Mr. Beast showed up with a ladder. For those that get that reference. Jimmy, I think he said Jimmy. Did he say Jimmy? It was categorized as indistinguishable chatter. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of yes. I heard Jimmy. I'm seeing a lot of people saying they heard Jimmy. All right, it's a yes. Just in the nick of time. All right, next prediction. Does Mr. Beast say million? I will accept millions or million. There can be any number before it that you want, as long as he says the word million. That's the prediction. So he could be saying, I have millions of subscribers. He could be saying, I give millions of dollars away. He could be saying, you're playing for $1 million. He could be saying, on Beast Games, I gave away $10 million. He could say, there are millions of people watching you at home. Millionaire? I will accept millionaire. It has to be Mr. Beast. Jeff doesn't count. Prediction is up. It's actually ending now, I think. Yeah, he could say $1 million secret. The beast mode advantage. You get to eliminate Suri without a vote. That's what they need. I don't think there's any chance Suri gets twisted out. Her edit's been too good for that. I would have said something similar about Christian, but now I'm doubling down on it. The fact that it happened to Christian means there's no way it can happen to Suri too. Jimmy? This is a private island. Jeez, he's so tall. Tease. Beware. Super beware. That's the dumbest name. At Tribal. That's it. I don't think Jimmy said million. Oh, are they thinking we shouldn't open the letters? Stephanie was more surprised about the immunity being next than she was about Mr. Beast. Ready to cook ya. Okay. Mr. Beast did not say million. Did not. Okay, next prediction. How about this? Is Suri the first out of the challenge? Yes, no. She was feeling sick. She's probably the person most damaged by the food. Does that haunt her in the challenge? Is she the first out? That's the prediction. Do I think there'll be a penalty for opening the letter? It would be a Mr. Beast kind of thing. But here's what I will say though. If everyone opens the letter, because obviously who would think to not open the letter? Then it's not very interesting to say, all of you that opened the letter, now you're impacted by the twist. If you hadn't opened the letter, you would be immune. Like, saying that something could have happened but didn't is not good TV. So how else could the letters play in though? It's possible that there's something else in the letters. Although, I guess it's a super beware advantage. The point of a beware advantage is that by opening it, you're putting yourself at risk. So it really does, to me, imply that by opening the letter, you're putting yourself at risk. But it could be that, like, by opening the letter, you get a clue to something. Here's what I will say for sure. I'm not going to be the first person to open a letter. All right, we're back. What is going on? They're standing on it probably, right? Oh, it's the bow. It's the hold the thing. Balance the ball. Chappelle says me and him are in a fight. I still don't have any mess. He said he was going to message me with screenshots. I got nothing. Unless he sent me on like Instagram or something. I never checked that. No. I got nothing. I think this is one that Suri could easily not be first out in. There you go. Suri was not first out of the challenge. Yeah. Could you imagine Suri gets a letter from Jared and it causes her to get twisted out? That would be too ridiculous. There goes Suri. Pretty consistently, they're not correcting aggressively enough. See, Devin's had to really aggressively tilt. Whew. He understands how to save it, which gives him some advantage. Yeah, Tiffany holding overhand. I don't love that. I think we've talked about this before. Underhand is just going to give you like a better, stable, I think, position to rest your arms. And easier method of keeping it upright. Oh boy. Yeah, no way. Emily didn't know how to correct. Oh, he's over the line, no? Oh. He's out. I don't think we've heard a peep from her this episode until now. They didn't even set that up. They could have given her some confessionals about day 19. Would have made that win feel more tense. All right. Does anyone... How about, does anyone say super beware advantage? Exactly that phrase. Super beware advantage. If they say super Mr. Beast beware advantage or super Mr. Beast advantage, doesn't count. Specifically, super beware advantage. That's the prediction. Yeah, we still have an hour and roughly 7 minutes. Wow, this commercial just said created with AI assistance. I don't think I've seen that before. This is a weirdly set up episode in that we had some fallout from the vote before, and we went straight into the auction, straight into the challenge. So we had no like real establishing footage prior to the post immunity stuff. I imagine that tribal is going to be extra long. So we probably have like 30 minutes, I guess, of camp strategy. Oh yeah, letters too. I mean, okay. Thank you, Jason, for the $5 super chat there, by the way. My thought is they really set up the Joe Devins feud again. Devins obviously the person most in danger here to begin with. I feel like we've gotten a decent amount of Aussie, a decent amount of Aubrey, and a decent amount of Joe. And Suri. Not even that much Emily yet. So my guess would be it's just Devins tonight with a possibility of something like a Joe. We're back. Boy. I believe that's a no on the super duper advantage. Aubrey getting a strong late game edit. She's been very present throughout. It still feels like probably misdirect, but I'm not mad at it. All right, it's gonna be a no. No super beware advantage, but I will run it back. You'll notice too, pretty much the same people I just mentioned were all the people that we highlighted with letters. Suri, Devins, Aubrey. We did skip Joe, I think, for the most part. Steph got a little bit, yeah, but she wasn't really in before then. Yeah, and Ozzy too, didn't he? Yeah, he was reading some letter. People, so because one thing people talk about, I talked about this recently. I think an Australian Survivor. People talk about like, oh, people get so emotional about their letters, and like, you know, it hasn't been that long or whatever. But like, in the stock answer is like, you know, it probably feels longer than you think. You know, they've been out there for 19 days, sure, but they were in sequester before that, and when you're playing a game like that, it feels like you're existing in a separate world, and it feels like life or death stakes, and it's super stressful. And so to hear from somebody who loves and cares about you unconditionally is really, really huge. But even on top of that, and Suri highlighted this before I even had a chance to say it, there's a good chance that like you haven't gotten a letter from people you love before. Like, it's not a super common practice to put pen to paper and write somebody a letter. And so when you do that, when you're prompted to do that, you're kind of communicating to them in a way that feels different than any other time you've communicated with them. And so you might say things you've never said before. There might be a parent who says, "I'm proud of you," and they say it in a letter, but they've never said it out loud. And that would obviously feel emotional. Or even just like, this is the way that I would write something to somebody I love, and they haven't experienced that before. And so like, oh, the way that they're describing how much they care about me could feel emotional if I just got it right now, not on an island, not playing a game. You know? Like when people write their vows for their wedding, it can feel emotional because it's like they're putting to paper, putting to a speech, we're back, how they feel about the other person. Then you add on top of that all the other factors, and yeah, you can get real emotional. Oh, that's interesting. I don't love Jonathan saying he'd vote for Ozzy, Because I'm assuming Ozzy would be sitting there with Suri. Very interesting that they showed Aubrey prompting this. That's either very good for her or very bad for her. I think Joe will not be on board with that. I do think this is a smart move, by the way. I think it's a vital move if Jonathan's group wants any chance. I mean, I think actually like Rizzo or Suri would be a better move, but... They keep coming back. In the end, they keep coming back to Suri. Yep. Oh, Ozzy still has the idol, no? Beast Games. Not super... They're just calling it Beast Games. She has to go. Syrian confessional just saying she has to go is so deadly. Nah. He's telling Jonathan. The information keeps leaking back and forth. And it leaks back to Suri. She's trying to get Suri. I actually think all this messiness is bad for Devons. Because it might get so messy that they all get scared and just go Devons. Now Rizzo. Rizzo is actually a great shot. That's actually a great plan. You steal Ozzy's vote, get him to play his idol when he doesn't need it, then swipe Rizzo with an idol in his pocket. Super beware advantage. I love the chaos of this vote. I'm actually worried now that the twist is going to screw with it. All right. We did get a super beware advantage. All right. Prediction is... Is Mr. Beast at Tribal? Now, this is key. Is Mr. Beast at Tribal in the next segment? We know he's going to be there at some point. But given that there's still like 40 minutes left, there's bound to be a bunch of commercials. They might do tribal discussion and then have Mr. Beast come in. Right? So that's kind of the basis behind this prediction. So obviously there was a lot going on there. Rizzo has like not even been in the episode. The people who have weirdly had a lot of like airtime here: Devins, Aubrey, Suri, Ozzy, I think are the four most prominent figures so far. You could definitely throw in Jonathan, Stephanie, Joe. But I think that I was going to say Tiffany, but she's obviously immune. I think Emily's actually fine. I think Rizzo is fine. And call me optimistic, but I do think Suri is fine. Ozzy still has his idol. It'd be pretty wild for him to go. Not impossible, but I'd be surprised. I don't know how, but I like Aubrey makes sense with how much she's been in the edit this episode. I think Stephanie makes sense because Suri said she had to go. I think Devins makes sense because this has been an otherwise pretty classical boot episode for Devins, constantly talking about being on the bottom, doing what it takes to break through, make chaos happen. Like, this is a pretty classic boot episode for a player like Devins. So I'm still leaning pretty heavily there, I think. But if not Devins, I think Stephanie and Aubrey are two of the more likely people it could bounce onto. All right, we're back. Like, I guess here's a question, right? Why is Devins so prominent in the edit of this episode? If it's an episode where he just survives because there are plans going on that like around him. You know what I mean? Maybe he does something big here. He just indicated that he would. But that big thing could also be the thing that puts it back on him. So far, Mr. B's not there, by the way. Christian's face. That was a very good way of explaining a love for Mr. Beast from Rizzo. Simple plan. It's definitely certainly indicating. Let's go back to the easy move, Devons. I think Devons knows it's on him. Duh. Oh boy. A history of lying. Yeah. This is pretty clear. Like it's very hard to believe Stephanie here. Stephanie did not defend herself well. It doesn't mean the vote's going to be on her. Come on, Jeff. We don't need to bring this to Mr. Beast. The second Jeff started talking, I lost interest. This was so interesting until Jeff started talking. Oh my God. Does he walk in or does it go to commercial? There he is. He's here. Okay. Prediction. Does the advantage have to do with votes? Yes, no. Now, I'm going to be more specific in the description of this, so listen carefully. When I say, does it have to do with votes? What I mean is, like, not will it give people immunity from votes, but will it take votes away? Will it give extra votes? Will it change, like, you know, do you have to earn your vote? Typically, with beware advantages, you lose your vote until you do something. So that's kind of the biggest prediction I would assume that you could make about what this is. So that's kind of what we mean. If it gets subjective, I will have to make a subjective choice. So if you're averse to subjective judgments, don't bet on this one. But hopefully you have an idea of what I'm looking for when it comes to, like, does it have to do with votes? I'm realizing too that part of the, like, during the strategy session, we saw a really cool thread that we followed all of that was like, hey, Aubrey suggests we make a move. Jonathan comes up with the idea to go after Ozzy. Stephanie gets on board. They pitch it to Devins. Devin says, is Joe on board? Jonathan talks to Joe. Joe leaks it to Suri. Suri flips it around on Stephanie. Ozzy leaks it to Jonathan. Jonathan goes to Stephanie, flips it back around on Suri and then Rizzo, and so on and so forth, right? Really cool thread to follow. We don't usually get so much detail with the trajectory of these things. We have occasionally this season, which has been very nice. And now I'm realizing that probably a huge part of why we got such detailed plans and like trajectories is because it's exactly what Devin spelled out at Tribal. He told that same story. He told that him saying the story at Tribal was like, oh, well, I guess we got to tell that story now. Right? Because that was good trauma at Tribal. Let's make sure we're telling that story. And the rest of it, yeah, was just like yada yada. Because that part wasn't told. That was the part Devins was left out of. All right, we're back. It is a coin. Oh. He's doubling the prize money. Are you out? Do you vote? They have to agree to it? It's basically a better shot in the dark. I think it was very clear that everyone was voting Devins. That's the panic for Emily, because what if she's the backup vote? This really is. They should have called it the super shot in the dark. Aubrey should not have said anything. Devins hits it. They vote out Aubrey. I think I'm not mad at this twist. It could have been really bad if the vote really was going to be interesting and somebody just flips tails. But I think this vote was just going to be Devins. It rolled? You're kidding. That has to be fake. I knew Mr. Beast would eventually say million. In the end, Devins did find an idol at Tribal. That's a good point. You see how Cerie's saying save their life? I'm taking that as confirmation the vote was for sure Devon's. So that, by the way, is why Devon's had such a prominent part of this episode. I really think it's going to be Aubrey. I really heavy think it's going to be Aubrey. She also had such a huge presence in this episode. And the way that she was also willing to kind of blow things up with Devon's indicates to me that it was probably the two of them ultimately that were landed on. If everyone was planning to vote out Devon's, why would you change the vote to go to Stephanie? If you weren't already planning to go Stephanie, why change it, right? At some point, Cirie and crew decided that they weren't going to go after Stephanie, despite the fact that they had the numbers. So why would they change their mind just because Devon's immune? That's my thought process. On top of the fact that Aubrey was so prominent in the edit. She also was the person who was like, I don't think I really want Devon's to do this. Which I think was because she knew if it hit, it would be on her. The advantage did not have to do with votes. Next prediction. Does more than one person stand up? Actually, does at least one person stand up? Does at least one person stand up prior to them going to vote, of course? Okay. Back to hiding the headphones. Back to hiding the headphones. I think it's because they bounce a little bit as I walk. All right. Hey, it's Billie Eilish. Oh boy. Look how upset Aubrey is. She knows it's her. And we're standing. Immediately they say Aubrey. Even Syriza. You're so full of it. Oh, Christian. So does Devins just have an idol that he can take back to camp? And they're not even bothering to split on Devins? He's immune as well? Oh, okay. I thought he was just immune, but then they handed him an idol, so I was like, oh, maybe it's immune because you have an idol. Stephanie stealing the vote. Aubrey. So the fact that Devins has an idol to bring back to camp actually, again, points me more in the direction of Stephanie. Or, sorry, of Aubrey. Because now Devins isn't toothless. He still has an ally in Emily. He clearly was working with Aubrey there. Plus the idol. Should have written Steph. Three votes Steph makes... No, it doesn't make sense, does it? Not unless it's Steph. Because... Wow, is it just Steph? Oh boy. Great episode for Aubrey. I'll admit I was wrong. I really thought that was Aubrey. I'm really curious to know what the actual intricacies were here. Was it really Devins, and did they then switch to Stephanie? What caused them to switch, if that were the case? I technically said it was Steph once, even if I meant Aubrey. Yeah, that was a Freudian slip in the direction of me being correct. I think Aubrey emerges as a potential winner candidate after this episode. I don't think a super strong one, but definitely one. Rizzo is starting to slip off. I think this episode is really quiet from him strategically. It's starting to feel like his edit is too quiet to be a winner, especially somebody like Rizzo. You'd expect him to have a more present edit. And I would say a very great episode for Suri. For obvious reasons, many reasons. I think right now, Suri is the clear frontrunner. I think Ozzy is probably number 2. I think like Aubrey and Rizzo are both hanging around the number 3, 4 spots now. And I think, you know, with a wild outside shot, Devins is still technically live at like number 5. I don't think anybody else is winning. I do think Jonathan is probably a late game player. I think Aubrey is probably a late game player, whether she wins or not. I think Emily and Tiffany are probably going to go soon. I just can't tell with Devins. Joe, I think, is going to last a little bit longer. I do feel like we're supposed to root for Devins against Joe. So maybe Joe somehow goes before Devins, but I mean, Devins has that idol now. So you know what? Maybe he is going to stick around. Maybe this turnaround is what sinks Joe. I'll say it. I think that was a good episode. Especially for a 2-hour episode. Okay. It's a little pedantic to say it was Jonathan and not me. Because Jonathan's a close ally of hers. He pitched it to her, and then they both started pitching it to others. You know what I mean? All right. Like I said, a 2-hour episode at like the final 10 or whatever it was, with Mr. Beast heavily advertised. There's a lot that could have been terrible in this episode. And I think that what we came away with was actually not only not that bad, but actually kind of good. The auction was fun with the food. The immunity was fine. The letters were fine. The strategy segment was great. Tribal was actually really fun for most of it. The twist was actually pretty good. And it ended with a satisfying result. Like, with plenty of Suri throughout, like, yeah. I mean, really, like, there's not much more you could ask for. So that's it. That's what we got. That was episode 10. Don't know how many episodes left. Probably like 2 or 3. And can we let's just like Devin's wife told him in his letter. Let's take a moment and appreciate where we are right now. Because we are now in the final stretch of episodes for a season of Survivor. And Suri is potentially the front runner to win. Not only in season, on island, but edit-wise. Let's just enjoy it while it lasts. You know what I mean? All right. That's what I got. Of course, if you are not a patron, head over to my Patreon. Tons of content over there. $1 Million Secret, jet lag, all kinds of trader stuff when that's going on, Australian Survivor, all kinds of Survivor stuff when that's going on. The Genius is still running, and you get a better version of this stream over there. And I very much appreciate those of you that come over. And that's it. That's what I got. Thanks for hanging out. See you all next time.